Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, welcome back to the JUSTJOE football show. Contrary to news that I had received, Patrick Bamford is out. Patrick Bamford will be out for the next 2 games, which I'm absolutely wounded about, because it's highly likely that he's not going to play Joseph. And if he's not going to play Joseph, then I think we're going to struggle. He was so key to, or is so key to everything that we do. So the fact he's out is a massive loss. People saying it's not a great loss. Yes, it is. You know, stylistically how we set up. We've seen how much Piro's been ghosting. So we have to hope that he plays Mateo Joseph. We have to hope and pray that that's what he's been doing for the last 8 days. You know, working on that. Bamford being out's not great, is it? Every time as well. Every time when the going gets tough in a lot of scenarios, then Bamford isn't about. And listen, no matter what you think, about Bamford, you have to agree that we're a better side with him in it. You know, yes, great to see Dan James back, not ready to play 90, but back in with a shout, so he'll be an option off the bench. I just think over 2 legs against Norwich, we may struggle without patting in the side, especially when Norwich will will play a low block and try do us in transition. I'm certain that that's the way they'll go. You know, Daniel Farke has done this before. Let's not forget he got Huddersfield promoted, having not scored a goal in open play. The 1 goal he did score on the way was an own goal, and then, you know, 1 on penalties. I'm just having a look back now at our previous game. So we beat them 1-0 at Ellen Road, and Patrick Bamford scored in that game. And I just want to look at the 3-2 to see if he played in that as well. Just 1 second. He maybe didn't play in that, you know, because it was earlier on in the season. Let me have a look at the lineups in that game. No, he didn't. He didn't play in that. So Rutter played in the 9 and Piro in the 10. If you're going to play Piro, I would rather him play Rutter up top and have Piro in behind, you know, because Piro as the 9 just doesn't work. Just doesn't work at all. It's really disappointing though, as I say, to see. To see. Just on this, if you haven't caught my video earlier on that I did this morning that was released in the early hours, Farke's not going anywhere. So if that's what your hope is, then you're going to be disappointed, believe me when I say. So I'm just putting it out there, prepare for disappointment. I think they will sit back, Wanderlust. I do think they will sit back. I think they will sit back and allow us to have the ball and then look to catch in transition. I do think that will happen. I may be wrong, but we'll wait and see. I know they've done it a few times this season. We will get... Luke, we're not just going to remove L just because he has a different opinion to people. We don't do that here, obviously. If there's abuse and stuff, definitely. But just because he's got a difference of opinion doesn't mean that we have to remove him. Stu, not very confident, wasn't confident anyway, but even less so now. I just want Sunday to come around, so on the morning when I wake up, I can get excited about the game, be confident that we'll do something, and then we'll see what happens. Because if we win, then everything will be gravy, won't it? Everything will be gravy. But while we wait for that, it's gonna be a problem, isn't it? It's gonna be a problem. Yeah, listen, Stevie, the fan base is divided, rightly or wrongly. There was someone at the darts last night that put one of the signs up saying Farke out, and I was like, what? Are we really going there? You've wasted your pen just to write that. Bit of a mad one for me, if I do say so myself, but it is what it is. He's not going anywhere. The 49ers have all but confirmed that fact anyway. So, congratulations and happy birthday to your missus. Hope she's at the finish line for kickoff. Are you in Sunderland as well then, Josh? Big up to you, Joshua. Big up to you, my man. We'll be sound either way. I'm at peace with it not going up this time. Confident. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm at peace with it. It's just the not knowing. It is just not the not knowing. Genuinely, I am at peace with it. Don't forget, youth FA Cup final against Man City tonight on FA TV. Yeah, if you're going to watch that, please do. That'd be great. And what does sacking him? Yeah, I mean, if you're going to move him, you move him on in the summer, don't you? Although they won't. So I'm not concerned there. Right, let's get into what he said then. So this was the team news. So Dan James is making good progress. He's coming closer and closer. Joined in with parts of team training. Tight race, but he does have a chance. Depends on the next 48 hours. Could be as an option, but not ready for 90 minutes. So Dan James will be on the bench, and that's a positive. That's a positive we have to take into it, knowing that, if the game's tight and if they are coming and attacking us, as Wanderlust said in the chat, then you can use Dan James later on in the game to run into that space that they will leave if indeed they do come out to play. So that's a positive. He does say Patrick will definitely miss both legs. If we do get through and Pirro and Rutter perform well, then I wouldn't bring him back in. I know it's not his fault, but I'm a little bit sick of it. If I'm honest, is that wrong for me to say? Apparently he's seen it. Well, not apparently. He has. Sorry, I'm being bitter. He has seen a different knee consultant, and the new diagnosis is that he has a mini trauma in his patella tendon. So that's what's keeping him out. So he's took a knock to the knee. They've seen a knee specialist, and he has a patella tendon trauma. So that's going to miss him for both legs as well. So that's obviously this Sunday and again on Thursday, which is disappointing. I was hoping that we were going to get positive news from there. Big up to my main man Abdul Rahman Al Khalifi, who's now been a member for 9 months. Big up to you, brother. He says good luck to our young whites tonight. Yeah, good luck to them as well, definitely. But like Stevie says, having James back from off the bench is great to see. Definitely. He was then asked the question, has he managed to instill some confidence in the team? Because confidence is on the floor, especially within the fan base as well. No psychological games, hard work on the training field, win the confidence back with hard work, success on the training pitch, good positions on the training pitch, reminding them step by step they do not need to do something different or special. Don't go away from what's worked all season. I totally get that. It's worked. Yes, it's fallen off of late, but it's worked for the majority of the season. What I've liked to have seen one of the journos ask him who would start up top. See what he'd have said. Are you going to give Joseph a run out in this game? Are you going to try him because he's more similar to what Pat is? But no one asked that question. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they've done it to a death. They've probably done it to a death and are sick of the answers they get themselves. I'm not too sure. But, yeah, I think, I'd have liked to have heard that. But like I say, it's just the same as, on the training pitch. As you can tell, I'm a little bit downbeat. I feel it as well. I was hoping for some positive news after this presser. And I just think Pat being out. No, we didn't get an update on Roberts either. Why was there no question of Roberts? That's a great shout, Tyler. That is a great shout. No one actually asked that question, and Daniel Farke didn't bring it up either. Farke, yeah. That's a bit disappointing, isn't it? I'm gonna have a look now just to see if there's been. Oh, that's Popey. I'll ask Popey. I've asked Popey on Twitter. There's no guarantees it'll respond, but we can ask. Yeah, just some Norwich news as well that Popey has just released. Obviously, Wagner will have done his press conference as well. He says that Duffy is set to play for Norwich City after being charged with drunk driving. Joke. Christian Fastnat and Jonathan Rowe have trained, so that's important for them that they have Jonathan Rowe available. Ashley Barnes misses the first leg. Onel Hernandez and Liam Gibbs miss out, which aren't big misses for them anyway. We'll wait to see if we hear anything from Popey, Ari Roberts, but we will wait and see. Right, okay, let's get back in. James is back on the bench. That's about it. That's all I've got for you, Lee, really. No one's mentioned Tyler Roberts. I don't think I said Tyler Roberts. I'm almost certain I didn't. Please smash a like on the video as well. We've got 93 likes, folks. Let's get that up to 100 if we can, and we'll get back to what Farke had to say. Duffy causing an accident by unfit to drive. Yeah, he was pissed, Stevie. He was pissed. He was drink driving, mate. Anyway, narrative of the game then. He was asked, look, we have a young side, but I do trust my players. It's not about me. Not about playing chess with the opponent's manager. In such a crunch game, it's the players who decide things. Managers are there to support them and back them, prepare them in the best possible way. This game will not be won or lost by great decisions on the touchline. It is totally up to the players, yeah? Putting it back on the players and that mentality. Mentality does come into this 100%. No, Duffy's playing, Alex. I just said that, yeah, Duffy's playing. It says, we are not experienced, but I would not change one player. I'm not saying I would change one player, but I would like to see some more experience if we could, you know. The winning mentality we have, when there is a special occasion, spotlight games, we show up, yeah? We show up. And this is something I'm going to agree with him on. Whenever we've played the big games, apart from Southampton, which doesn't stand us in good stead, but when we've needed wins against Leicester, against Ipswich, we've won them games. So I do agree with Farke when he mentions the spotlight games and how we've, rose to that occasion. And to be fair, I was watching Connor One Leeds, and the Norwich City fan, Chris Reeve, came on and said one thing he will say for Farke: whenever he was at Norwich and they needed results in the big games, they got results. You know, remember when they came to Welham Road that time and beat us? I think it was 3-1, 3-0 in the running. That was a huge result for them. So that's one positive, and we can't disagree with that. Outside of Southampton, and Benjamin Bloom made a great point last night on the and sometimes it's good to get opposing fans' perspective, or a fan outside of Leeds said, but Joe, them games against Southampton came at weird times, nothing riding on them, Had you been in great form, you would have beat them on a normal, there's all these different permutations, but I do have to agree with Farke there when he mentions the big games, we have shown up. We won 4 times against Leicester and Ipswich, and we have more consistency on other days, in the office would have done us better. So had we have had more consistency against the lesser teams, would have been stood in good stead. But he did finish with saying, in spotline games, this team is spot on. Okay, this team is spot on, and the team have to take confidence from that fact as well, don't they? They have to take. There we go, great stuff. So we've had news. They must have asked him after. Let's have a look. We are Leeds. Connor Roberts is fine, for those who were asking. He's been in team training. That's a massive win. That's a massive win. Yeah, this is a massive win, because what that means is you can play him at right back. You have experience then in Roberts. I'd like to see him at right back, even if that means Gray dropping to the bench. Yeah, thank you for that, mate. I would argue he's probably going to go Gruev and Gray. I'd like him to go Ampadu and play Cooper. I know that will set everyone's tongues wagging, but I'd like to see Ampadu back in midfield, but he won't do that. But Connor Roberts being fit is good, and if he's been in team training, there's no talk of like, oh, he's been involved bit part, can't get 90 minutes. He is fine and is involved in team training. Maybe we'll get Connor Roberts over the 2 legs, which is great. That's great to see and hear. So yeah, in spotlight games, the team is spot on. Great stuff. More about players' mentality than the tactics. That was the question that was posed to him, and I think there is a lot in that, and that's what worries me. He says, tactics are important. What we want to do with and without the ball, we've been working on this. We do not press a magic button and change our whole approach to park the bus or put the balls out of the stadium. That's not my team. We'll continue to play it our way, in effect. We will try to be ourselves and control the game when it's necessary and be active against the ball. Let's hope it works then, because I'd like something to change, but let's hope this works. When he was asked about us beating them twice in the regulation season, he says, season does not matter now. It's a new competition. 2 wins against Norwich do not matter. It's a new beginning. We had 46 games to earn our place in the playoffs. We've done that. But this is a new competition and we have to concentrate on now rather than in the past. That's the right mentality to have. But you also, as a fan and players, think, we've beaten these twice, we can do it again, you know? Anyway. So, yeah, look, it's cup football now, isn't it? It's 2 legs, it's cup football. He was then asked this question about fans. He says, have you felt the trust from the fans wavering in recent weeks? Yeah? Have you felt the trust from the fans wavering in recent weeks? Which it has. He says, in general, trust is hard-earned and lost easily. You give it away too easily as footballers, and I get that. Once you are disappointed after a loss or a poor result, it is nothing to do with losing faith. It shows how much our fans care. We were all disappointed after a loss. We don't all want to hug, but we are in bad moods. You have to show this if you care. Our fans care about this club. He did say, and again, this comes back to being in the ground, our lap of honour showed us they trust us and are behind us. We have more than 5,000 people with comments. There are 500,000 or 5 million back in Leeds United. You are more tempted to write a comment when you are in a bad mood. When you are happy at home with your missus, you have less time to go and post a negative comment. And it's true. That part is true. You know, you want to shout into the abyss when you're annoyed. When you're positive and that, you just leave it alone, won't you? Yeah, we won. It is what it is. But it's a good. I think it's a good point he makes about the lap of honour showed us they trust us and are behind us. So for me, he's used that, and he needs to use that. He needs to use that for the players to say, look, we let them down. We dropped the ball at the end of the season. Yeah. We dropped the ball at the end of the season, and we then still got the masses of support from them. So we have to take that into the playoffs, and I think he will have used that. Definitely not Johnny Smythe. I'm reading word for word what he says. I don't think I've mentioned 90 points once yet. But even if he did mention 90 points, he got 90 points. What do you want him to say? That he got 88? He's just speaking facts. I think we're being pedantic. We're being pedantic. He was asked about the team meal. Now, I spotted a photo on Facebook late on whatever night it was, and I put it on Twitter. My God, that had some interaction. Loads of people being negative because Somerville didn't smile in a photo. I mean, it was silly. Loads of things about falling out and all this BS. Oh, they're on the drink. Well, I'm not like professing to be ITK, but someone that was there contacted me after the fact asking where I got the photo, because obviously it wasn't supposed to be released. And I said, I got it off Facebook, and they wanted to know where and whatnot, but I just took a screenshot. I didn't take it. But this person also said, and doesn't need to be named, but basically said that they'd come in to watch the Champions League semi-final. The camaraderie within the group was great. There was no alcohol consumed, and they looked like a real tight-knit group, all getting on. Obviously, I've not shared that. I've not screenshotted that. That person asked me not to do that. But they just wanted to know where the photo would come from, because naturally someone's taken that photo and then it's been released, and they want to know how that photo got from that phone to then go out and then create a big hoo-ha, because that's what he did. And then obviously Baron Cross mentioned it in the presser, saying there was a team meal together and we saw a photo online, and Farke responded to that and just said it's great to see. But yeah, I think to think that people somehow managed to spin that round to a net negative is crazy to me. Like, I went to bed, I woke up in the morning and my phone was hot. I was like, what's this? And I checked, And I was like, how are people turning this round to a negative? How are they looking at, like, Somerville can do no wrong, can do no right. If he'd have smiled, people would have said, oh, he don't care. And if he'd have, well, look at the reaction from his frown. And then you've got players like Duffy smashing cars, pissed up. And our players are going for a meal together as a group with no alcohol to watch a Champions League semi-final. And somehow we find a net negative about that. I mean, you do you. Do you know what I mean? This is the point. If you were one of them people that found a net negative with that, ask yourself the question, why? Why? Do you know what I mean? He's just too cool for school and don't want to smile. I do that sometimes. You know? Sometimes in a photo I'll go. Do you know what I mean? It's wild. Sometimes I'll do this. I don't particularly like smiling with my teeth. So I'll go. Or I'll go. Or I'll go like that. Do you know what I mean? What does that mean? He's just cool. He's a young lad. You know what I mean? But somehow that got turned into a net negative, which is disappointing. But anyway, yeah, Wanderlust. They weren't drinking though. Them pints could have been anybody's. They weren't drinking. And then, like I said, I seen you, like not to name names, but then people saying, oh, they're all falling out and all that shit. Yeah, there might have been disagreements, but that's natural. That's natural. If you spend the majority of your week with the same people week in, week out, and you're not all going to get on. You know what I mean? You go to work and probably don't get on with people in your job. Do you know what I mean? And this is what happens. I just thought a lot was made of it. But yeah, it's great for team bonding and it's great to see. He was asked then specifically about the midfield. And he said, I believe in all my players. There was no mention of Ampadu in that, you know. Because I think Baron Cross mentioned it. How are you feeling about your midfield? You've tried different partnerships. He mentioned Gruev. He mentioned Gray, Kamara, and then said maybe, you're likely to maybe even want to try Ampadu in there. And when he mentioned it, he said, I believe in all my players in the centre midfield position, and mentioned Glenn, and mentioned Archie, and mentioned Gruev, but did not mention Ampadu. So I think that for me squashes any sort of hope, if you had hope of that he would go into midfield. So yeah. Actually, Jack, just reminded, the only thing that was wrong with that photo was Pirro's retro Pringle type golf jumper that was cut off at the arms. That's the only thing that was wrong with that photo. But yeah, anyway, big up to Mally, who's just become a new member. Big up to Mally, thank you for that, man. So yeah, that was the midfield. He says I've got a good mix for the upcoming games. Okay, but Ampadu will probably stay at centre back. He was then asked, obviously, he'd mentioned about Spotlight and does he have to build this game up for the players. He says it's an important Spotlight game. You cannot hide this. The playoffs are do or die. You've got to make sure you are successful over 2 legs. They know it's a Spotlight game. We do not hide away from this, which is good. This is good. Sweater vest, that's it. A golf Pringle sweater vest, He says, we won't overdo anything, though. We had more days this week to prepare and concentrate on sharpening some details. I'm hoping that's with Joseph in the side, but I don't think it will be. He said, it's been a beneficial week on the training pitch. We will not overdo anything. Don't want to hide. It's a special game where it really counts. We have to be really on it, and we have to be focused. We have to be focused. Anyway. Mental reset from the last week to this. Have you had to have a mental reset? Because obviously mentality has been on the floor. Do you have to have a mental reset ahead of, the big games that are coming up? And he says yes, because we knew over 46 games we were chasing. Nothing was in our hands. Last game, we knew a home game for Ipswich against relegated side. It was a tall order. After the first game, you do not want win points. It's just half-time. Sorry, yeah. So he said after the first game away at Norwich City, we don't win points. It's just half-time. So for the right to play at Wembley, we have to win it over 2 legs. Quite normal. You cannot compare this to a normal league game. It's quite similar tactically, though, and how we prepare for it, which for me is an issue. Because I think Wagner Corberan, they will play this tactically. I think Wagner will shut up shop. I genuinely think they'll shut up shop and say, right, break us down and we're going to try catch you on the counter. He's been here, seen there, done it. Farke doesn't have experience in the playoffs. And it could be, like if you set up similarly like you did against Southampton, you're going to get killed. You know? And he said he switched that up, obviously. It was a must-win game kind of vibe, and although it was out of our hands and stuff, but... No, Howard, I wouldn't say that because we haven't even played the game. But you need to let the players know they need to get this over the line. I don't think he's taking it away from himself at all. You have to put it on the players as well. They need to understand. They need to understand how important it is. They have to. They must do because they've shrunk. Farke's tactics and that could be wrong, but it still doesn't stop players standing up. And you can't tell me, since the international break, not many have stood up at all. And that could come into it, Hello Kitty, as well. This is what I'm saying. David Wagner, he will set them up, taking into consideration the both two games. I'm not sure Farke will. I think he'll just drop in and be like, right, same again, boof. Then we got Welham Road, boof, same again. And I think you do need to have a bit of tactical nous. I'm not saying he doesn't have that, but Wagner's been there and done it. There's a reason why Tommy Tuchel, for example, does so well in the Champions League. And maybe not so much in the league. People say they're cup managers. You could argue Ten Hag is a cup manager. Because as shit as Man United have been in the league, they always seem to progress in the cups. They're in the FA Cup final. They were last season. They won the Carabao Cup final. You know, so I think he's got 3 finals in 3 years. And Ten Hag's rubbish, but can navigate the cups. He got Ajax to a Champions League final, was it? Or was it the semi? It was the semi, wasn't it, against the Spurs? So certain managers are better in a cup competition. So, yeah, that could come into it for sure. And that does worry me. Look, I don't want to give too much away in terms of my preview, but Norwich are good, but defensively are pretty woeful. So we will get chances. In terms of XG against, they're up there with the likes of Rotherham, Plymouth. They do concede a lot of chances, and defensively they're not great. Jack Stacey, Giannoulis, Ben Gibson, Shane Duffy, meh, for me. So we will get chances. It's about being clinical. Now, do you have enough faith in the strikers based on recent form? Yeah. Let's not forget they went up 2-0. They went up 2-0 as well at Norwich City. Let's not forget they did that before we came back and won 3-2. And if they go 2 up next time, believe me, we won't come back. Because they will shut up shop. Again, Tactico, Wagner, having been in the playoffs. Like, do you know what Wagner's response to losing on the last game was? He said, I don't care. Who cares? Who cares? Do you know what I mean? It's that type of, I don't care. We lost, yeah, but we're in the playoffs, so who cares? And I don't know if that'll have been the same sort of rhetoric coming out at our end. So, Farke over the moon t-shirt if we win. Something like that. Something like that. So, mental reset we've done. Will Ferrell investment. We need each and every man. It's always good, a great actor. We're all happy he's on board. But I don't think he can help us at Norwich. Yeah, is what it is. Norwich narrative being pushed is that the pressure's on Leeds United and not on them. Yeah? That's the narrative that's being pushed from the Norwich end. Pressure on Leeds because they missed the top 2. And he was asked that question by, I believe, a Suffolk-based journalist. I've not heard him before. And he was asked that. And then the question was posed, is that something you relish, knowing that they think the pressure's on you? And he says, I'm not a believer in mind games. Every team wants to win. If you win, you are happy. If you lose, you are not happy. There's pressure on both teams. Both teams have earned the right for a shot at promotion. Both sides want to do it. Don't think anyone down there is not willing to be promoted and stay in the Championship. This is something for the pundits and the media to discuss. but we want to earn the right to play at Wembley, and hopefully we will earn that right. And that's what Farke had to really say on his presser, folks. But like I say, the big ones out for me is Bamford. Bamford's massive, and I hope Pirot can sort his shit out, really, ideally, because yeah. I think it's a big loss. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Ari Connor Roberts, will he play at right back? There's shouldn't be calls to change Meslier. For me, I can see that. I don't see there's no point in changing your keeper with 2 games. Genuinely, there's not, because we don't have enough confidence in Darlow or Clarkson. Definitely not. I'd love to see Joseph start, but the fact that he hasn't started him, apart from in the Cup, he's not going to start him in 2 must-win games, is he? So we have to agree. I think he will go. This is my probably pick early doors. Meslier in goal. He will be Roberts at right back, centre back Rodon and Ampadu with Fairport left back. I think in midfield he'll start Gruev and Gray. Then in front of him it'll be Somerville, it'll be Rutter and Nonto, and then up top it'll be Pirot. But David, there isn't though, is there? There's not though, is there? Because you've seen, you must have seen with your own eyes, as much as people dislike him, you must have seen how shit we are without him in the side. Please, everyone can see that. Now, if he started Joseph and Joseph was doing it, then we could say, well, that's an easy. But the fact that he doesn't and goes with Pirot, look at performances with Bamford in the 9 as opposed to Pirot in the 9. There's no comparison. We have to understand that. It's a fact. Yeah, it's a fact. Yeah. It's the shape and style, not just has he scored. Exactly. We can't make the ball stick because the number 9, when Pirot plays, right, he's picking the ball up in the centre circle, normally with a shit touch, and then passing it to someone, and then can't get on the end of it. The number 9, when Bamford plays, he's playing on the edge of their box, and it goes up to him, and he's able to bring it down and pop it off further up the field. Just look at the average positions. We could probably do that on SofaScore now, actually, to be fair, if we go on it and put Pirot and then compare him with Bamford. Let me just do that 1 second. It'll be interesting just to see, though, won't it? So we could. Now, of course, a lot of that actually he did spend sort of playing there, but. Yeah. It's quite interesting actually when you see it. Maybe doesn't quite have the difference I expected, in all honesty. That's 1 sec. That's Pat. Obviously likes to pick it up on the left hand side. You can see his heat map in the centre as well. It's a bit more varied, I guess. But when you look at Pirot, his touches are all, sort of in midfield, aren't they? Really, if we're being totally honest. So not as big as I would have thought, but I just think without Pat, I think we'll struggle. I do. Yeah, but that's it. Roberts hopefully gives us something from an experience perspective. But I wasn't confident anyway, as you know. I think Southampton will win the lot. I think we'll struggle over 2 legs, as disappointed as I am to hear myself say that. So I think we will struggle, and then without Pat, that's even worse for me. Do you know what I mean? It makes it even worse. So lost players at key moments and all that sort of stuff. So look, he needs replacing in the summer, doesn't he? He needs replacing in the summer, or you need to start Joseph in the summer, which I expect he will do. But yeah. Sorry to be so downbeat. I was hoping for a much more upbeat presser. Had he have told me that that Pat had been made it and James was ready to go and all that sort of stuff. But No, but Bill, of course they do. Like, I hate this narrative that gets said, because the same was said about Rafinha. Do you remember Rafinha? Do you remember people when, let's not forget, right? This is how BS this narrative is. Because the same narrative got pushed, right, on Rafinha. Last few games, he's going to Barca, he don't care. Then Rafinha basically won us that game at Brentford. Well, Jack Harrison, but he was key as well, right? Look at Rafinha's celebrations when he was at Griffin Park, straight in the ground, yeah? And then also, after the game, he got on his hands and knees and went the full length of the pitch to thank his deity. Do you know why? The reason that he did that is because he'd prayed for it. So he'd prayed for Leeds United to stay up. The reason that he went on his hands and knees and crawled the full length of the pitch was because he was thanking his deity because he prayed. So to say that he didn't care, it's the same narrative getting pushed now with Somerville. And people said he didn't care, when clearly he did. Because he won, he kept us up, right? He also celebrated like a madman in the crowd. And then also had to thank his God, because he prayed for Leeds United to stay up. So, it's the same that's happening. And I'm going to say it. It's because of the colour of the skin. People won't want to hear it. You can call me a snowflake, whatever you like. But it's true. That's what I believe. I said that off air to someone about even the way that the response to Somerville not smiling in a photo. But people won't want to hear it. And people call me a snowflake. But that's what it is. And it's unconscious. People don't even realise. People don't even realise they're doing it. And that's what it is. And you can call me a snowflake or whatever, but it's facts. I genuinely believe that fact. Anyway, we move. Yeah. Horse in a council flat. Joe, if we go up, I will change my name to Horse in a private residence. I'd love that. Yeah. Anyway, please do smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. Get your comments in, hit that notification bell and all that jazz. It massively helps the channel. Please support the channel. Yeah, support the channel. And hopefully, but we can still do it. I'm not confident though. I'm not confident. I'm just talking like this. I'm reading the chat as it's coming in because I can imagine there'll be a lot that disagree with me, and then it just causes discourse. And I shouldn't be worried about saying it through fear of the discourse disagreeing with me and saying I'm a snowflake and that. But yeah, like NJ1 says, get a grip. You can say that, bro, but this is what I mean. Anyway, we move. Please smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. Get your comments in. Hit that notification bell. And I'll see you in a bit. Peace out now.